The brown liquid spread across the mahogany desk in slow motion, seeping into a stack of contracts worth millions. Emma watched in horror as her trembling hands still clutched the empty cup, her heart hammering so violently she could hear it in her ears. Across from her, Marcus Whitmore, the Marcus Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Industries and one of the most powerful men in New York, sat frozen, his custom-tailored Tom Ford suit now decorated with dark splatters of coffee. This was it. The end of everything she'd worked for. Her mother's medical bills flashed through her mind. The overdue rent notice she'd hidden in her desk drawer. Her little sister's college acceptance letter they couldn't afford to celebrate. In that single devastating moment, Emma knew her already fragile world was about to shatter completely. She'd been working at Whitmore Industries for exactly 3 months and 2 days. Not that she was counting obsessively or anything, but when you're the girl who rode 2 buses and a subway, just to clean office buildings, at night to pay for community college, you remembered exactly how long you'd been given a shot at something better. Emma had landed the administrative assistant position through a temp agency, and every single day felt like walking on a tightrope. One mistake, one slip, and she'd tumble back down to where she'd started, or worse, into an abyss she couldn't climb out of. The morning had started like any other. Emma arrived at 6:47 a.m., 13 minutes early as always, clutching her homemade lunch in a wrinkled paper bag and wearing her interview outfit because it was the only professional clothing she owned. She'd learned to rotate 3 blouses and 2 pairs of pants in different combinations, praying nobody noticed. Her desk sat in the corner of the executive floor, close enough to Mr. Whitmore's office that she could respond immediately when needed, but far enough that she could usually avoid his intimidating presence. Marcus Whitmore was a legend in business circles. At 38, he'd built his father's modest real estate company into a multi-billion-dollar empire spanning technology, finance, and green energy. Forbes had named him one of the most influential entrepreneurs under 40. But more than his success, people whispered about his exacting standards, his legendary perfectionism, and his ability to dismantle someone's career with a single conversation. Emma had seen 3 executives leave in tears during her short tenure. She'd perfected the art of becoming invisible. That morning, Mr. Whitmore's regular assistant, Patricia, had called in sick with the flu. The office manager had appeared at Emma's desk with an anxious expression. "Emma, I need you to cover for Patricia today. Just basic stuff. Answer his phone, manage his calendar, bring him his 9 a.m. coffee. Black, no sugar from the cafe on 5th. Can you handle it?" Handle it? Emma wanted to laugh hysterically. She'd been entrusted with the care and keeping of a man whose time was worth more per minute than she made in a week. But she'd nodded calmly, professionally, as if her stomach wasn't twisting into knots. Everything had gone smoothly until 9:14 a.m. She'd retrieved the coffee, black, no sugar, exactly as specified, and approached his office with careful steps. The door was slightly ajar. She'd balanced the coffee in one hand while knocking gently with the other. His distracted "come in" had barely registered before she pushed through the door. What happened next would replay in her mind forever in excruciating detail. Her shoe caught on the edge of his Persian rug. The coffee flew forward in an arc, seeming to hang in the air for an impossible moment. Then it landed, on his desk, his laptop, his suit, his documents. The sound of the cup hitting the floor was like a gunshot in the silent office. "I'm so sorry," Emma gasped, the words tumbling out in a panicked rush. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Whitmore. I didn't. The rug. I'll fix this. I'll fix everything." She'd lunged forward with the napkins. She'd been carrying, desperately trying to blot the coffee from the contracts, only to realize too late that she was potentially making it worse. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She wouldn't cry. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing her break before he fired her. But when she finally forced herself to look up at him, something unexpected stopped her cold. Marcus Whitmore wasn't yelling. He wasn't red-faced with rage. Instead, he was standing very still, his blue eyes fixed on her with an expression she couldn't read. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. "Stop," he said quietly. Just that one word, but it carried such weight that Emma's hands froze mid-blot. She straightened slowly, napkins still clutched in her trembling fingers, preparing for the inevitable dismissal. This was how it ended, not with a bang, but with coffee stains and humiliation. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice still eerily calm. "Emma. Emma Rodriguez, sir." Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "How long have you worked here, Emma?" 3 months and 2 days, sir." Something flickered across his face. Was that amusement? "That's very specific." "I don't want to forget how lucky I've been to work here," she said, and immediately regretted the honesty. It sounded desperate. It sounded weak. But Marcus tilted his head slightly, studying her with those sharp, analytical eyes that probably saw right through everyone. "Lucky," he repeated as if testing the word. "Tell me, Emma, what do you think I'm going to do right now?" The question caught her off guard. "Fire me, sir." "And what would you do if you were me?" "If someone had just destroyed your property and wasted your time?" Emma swallowed hard, then lifted her chin slightly. If she was going down, she might as well go down with honesty. "I'd try to remember that everyone makes mistakes, sir. I'd try to remember that things can be replaced. But people's livelihoods can't always be restored once they're taken away. I'd try to show mercy." She paused, then added quietly, "But I'm not you. I know that most people in your position don't think that way." The silence that followed felt eternal. Marcus moved around his desk, and Emma braced herself for the words that would end everything. Instead, he did something completely unexpected. He picked up his phone and called facilities. "Yes, I need someone to clean up a spill in my office. No rush. 20 minutes is fine." Then he hung up and turned back to her. "My father started this company with $50,000 and a handshake. I grew up watching him work 18-hour days, treating every employee like family, believing that character mattered more than credentials. When he died 3 years ago, people told me I needed to be harder, tougher, more ruthless to survive in this business. And I tried. God knows I tried." He gestured at his coffee-stained suit with something. That might have been a rueful smile. "But you just reminded me of something I'd forgotten." "Do you know what that is?" Emma shook her head mutely. "Grace," he said simply. "The grace to recognize that a moment of clumsiness doesn't define a person's worth. Patricia tells me you arrive early every day, that you volunteer to help others even when it's not your job, that you're studying at night to finish your degree." He crossed his arms, still watching her intently. "Why didn't you put that on your application?" "I didn't think it mattered," Emma admitted. "I thought you only cared about experience and qualifications." "I do," Marcus said. "But I also care about character, integrity, and resilience. Those things can't be taught in business school." He walked back to his desk, carefully moving the stained documents aside. "Here's what's going to happen, Emma. You're not fired. In fact, I'm promoting you to junior executive assistant, effective immediately. You'll work directly with me, learning every aspect of this business. Your salary will triple." Emma's legs actually wobbled. Why?" "Because you showed me mercy when you had every reason to be terrified. Because you spoke truth when silence would have been easier. And because I need people around me who remember that we're all human, even at the top." He extended his hand toward her. "So, Emma Rodriguez, will you help me remember what my father taught me about running a company with heart?" Through the tears she could no longer hold back, Emma reached out and shook his hand. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." 3 years later, Emma stood in Marcus Whitmore's office again, though now it was her office too, divided by a glass partition that made them equal partners. Her mother's medical bills were paid. Her sister had graduated from college with honors, and Emma herself had just closed a deal that would create jobs for 500 people. Marcus caught her eye through the glass and raised his coffee cup in a mock salute. She laughed, raising her own cup in return. Some spills, it turned out, didn't ruin everything. Sometimes they washed away the walls we built around ourselves, revealing the humanity underneath. Sometimes mercy given became opportunity received. And sometimes the worst moment of your life could become the beginning of everything you'd ever dreamed of